Jason and AJ away, the boys are gonna play today. That's how I feel right now. I love it. Well, hey, welcome to church. My name's Ed. I'm the campus pastor here at our East location. I'm pumped to have you. Hey, listen, I just want to encourage you, lean in to what's about to happen. Because I believe every single time we gather, God has some unique blessing available to us. But it does require something on our part. I believe we need to lean in to what is possible to happen here. All I mean by that is just have an open heart, an open mind to what God might want to speak to you in the next hour or however long we're going to be here. I'll keep it for 4 hours today, maybe. We'll see. I'm kidding. It's humid. We got to go. But I want you to be open to what God wants to do here today. I don't care if this is your 100th time here or your first time here. Actually, if it is your first time here, listen, I want to tell you something about this community called Amplify, that you do not actually have to believe what we believe in order to belong here. And we actually really hope and pray that this community can be a safe space for you to explore your relationship with God. And so we hope that that starts today. But the same challenge is issued to you. Lean in. Be open to what God wants to say to you today, because I believe He has unique blessing for you today as well. So all of us, lean in, be ready to what God wants to do. Well, hey, I mentioned Jason and AJ not here today. Last week, Jason gave an update on our city campus, and so I want to give you a 1 week update. 2 weeks ago was a busy week. We had all the assurances in the world that we were going to be meeting last Sunday. It didn't happen. We obviously aren't in there today again. And it truly is some paperwork that we have to get corrected with the city ordinances. And if you've ever done any projects, man, with the city or Allegheny County, it takes time. And it is no one's fault. It just takes time. And we all wish it would go faster, but it just goes as it goes. So we're thankful for all the city workers who have been helping us. Man, all of our contractors have been doing such a phenomenal job. Our city team has been literally ready to jump in and do service whenever we say we're going to have service, which is just incredible. So volunteers, servant leaders, we're so thankful for you. But as soon as we get our occupancy permit in hand, we will announce the date. I do not have that date for you today, but it's coming soon. And until then, just keep believing, keep praying for us, and just, pray that everything just goes as it should, and hopefully we'll be in there in July. I have expectation that it's coming here shortly, but I don't want to set any additional expectation and then us fail to hit it, so it's coming. That's all I got to say. Now, can I tell you how I personally feel about that? How I personally feel about the city not being open? It kind of stinks, right? Like, it kind of, I just gave you my formal organizational response to how we're handling it. Now, my personal side, it stinks. I'm upset about it. I think all of us as a staff we're like, man, we want to be in there. Amplify is one house, many rooms. And we're just like, man, we just want to open this other part of our house so that people can come and hear about Jesus, But have you, and this probably should be everybody in the room, have you ever had a plan that did not go as you expected? Yeah, right? I mean, all of us have. It was the great Reverend Bishop Iron Mike Tyson. He's my favorite preacher, John. He said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. I love that. Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. Now, I've never been physically punched in the face. I got to protect the assets, you know what I mean? And but you should see the other guys I fought. I've never been, but I have been punched in the face, I guess, by life, right? Like, life has caught me off guard at times. And I honestly feel like the motto for 2020 should be punching you in the face since January, right? Like, it just... And so that's why I want to talk to you about something that I believe is really simple, a simple concept, but not always quite easy. If you're taking notes today, here's the title of my message. You can write this down. It's called You Need to Smile More. That's it. Real simple. You need to smile more. Hey, turn to someone next to you and say, you need to smile more. Tell them. So you need to smile more. And I want to challenge you to do one more thing. If you could this could be the person next to you or someone around the room. Can you turn to someone and just give them a big smile? I just want to challenge you to do it. Just big smile. Yeah, come on. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. It's not always easy to smile. It's not always easy. I remember when I was a kid, when I was young, if I was really frustrated about something, or maybe my brother was being a jerk. What's up, Mike? Maybe he was being a jerk, and I go crying to my mom about something. She wouldn't do this every time, But there were some times where she'd force me to smile in the midst of my frustration. I don't know if your parent ever did that, or if you are a parent, if you do that to your kids. But it is the most pathetic attempt of a smile you will ever see in your life, to force a kid to do this. Because you'll be like blubbering, like, oh my gosh, and then they look out, you're like, like you're just trying to like force it on. And you literally can't. Like, it's like trying to break through, but you're so upset. And something would happen though. Something would happen when I was forced to smile like that. And I can't really explain it. It's just something about the way God designed us or wired us. But when I would physically put a smile on my face, it would do something to my soul. As a kid, I would do this. Like, I wouldn't be able to say angry anymore. I wouldn't be able to say frustrated or upset anymore. It just did something to my soul. I actually think that when you smile, this extension of kindness just through a facial expression actually does something to other people's souls as well. Which, can I just say, and listen, I'm not making a statement about masks or anything, but I actually think that's been so problematic that in this season, wearing a mask, you literally can't see the smile of another person. That's a statement about smiling. Again, not a statement about masks. It's a statement about smiling and the power of a smile. It's powerful. I joked with our servant leaders after the first week of church here, how many times did I smile at someone behind a mask, and then I think to myself, you're an idiot. They can't see it. But it's this power of a smile to almost just show love to somebody. I was having a conversation this week with my friend Wendell. A few weeks ago, Wendell was actually up on the platform. He was part of a dialogue we had with our lead pastor, Jason, and some truly phenomenal black leaders that are part of our Amplify family here. And it was a really powerful dialogue. But I was talking with him this week, and if you'll excuse me to go off on a tangent just for a second, he said to me, as a black man, he finds himself in a lot of situations that he has to be ready to diffuse them before they ever escalate. And he has certain strategies for that. I've heard other individuals, other black friends I have say that they have similar strategies that they employ to, again, de-escalate a situation before it ever escalates out of control. And Wendell said to me, a smile is his first thing. He always, if he finds himself in a situation where he just gets a little nervous, he's intentional about smiling and just talking to the other individual. Now, I think all of us might have employed that strategy at one time or another, but it was evident to me that he has to do it more often than I have to do it. And again, if you'll just let me do this little bit of a tangent, it is a privilege I have because of the color of my skin that I don't have to do it as much as Wendell does. And so I just wanted to say, as a continuation from that conversation a few weeks ago, I don't want to let that conversation stop. And as a white leader over this family, I want to make sure that I'm standing with our lead pastors, Jason and AJ, to say we're going to continue to be an organization that's going to push the conversation forward so that all lives matter equally moving forward, okay? Thank you for letting me say that. You need to smile more. I think it does something to society. I think it does something to your soul. I think it does something to the people around you whenever you choose to smile. Now, I challenged you to smile a few seconds ago, and I think it would be really easy for you to say, well, Ed, I don't have a lot of reasons to smile. In fact, 2020 has given me a whole lot of reasons to smile. Have you heard of murder hornets? And I understand that. In reality, it's very likely that you've gotten theoretically punched in the face this year. Maybe it was something to do with COVID-19. Maybe you or someone you know did have it. Maybe someone died close to you that had it. Maybe it was some other health issue that's come up this year. Maybe you got furloughed from your job. Maybe you got actually let go from your job. Maybe you lost money in the stock market because of what's happened this year. Maybe a relationship did not go as you expected it to in 2020. Whatever the case may be, I think it's common to say, well, okay, I don't have any reason to smile, so I'm not going to smile. But I think there's something powerful if we can just get back to this simple habit of smiling. I think it can actually do something for us. Have you ever heard this phrase that life is 10% what happens to you, but it's 90% how you react to it? I think that's really true. But too often, I think for myself and the people around me, I think we're too quick to define our lives by the things that happen to us. And because it's something that practical that happened to me in this life, we'll then label ourselves because of that thing that happened. We'll say, okay, well, forever I am an addict. And we then begin to define ourselves by the things that have happened and less about how we're making through it. But life is not actually determined by what you go through, but rather how you go through it. I think there's a lot to be said about how we go through this life and what kind of adversity we have. That when life knocks us down or when life catches us off guard, how do we respond? And I think the very first thing that we always need to remember is no matter how often you get caught off guard, our God does not get caught off guard. There is nothing about this year that has surprised him. And knowing that, I think, gives me some hope. Because no matter what happens to me, I feel like I got a God that's going to continually be on my side as I work through it. Arguably, the wisest man who has ever lived, the Bible calls him that, a guy named Solomon, he wrote these words in Proverbs. He said, though a righteous man may fall 7 times, he still gets up. I love it. You may be more familiar with the modern translation, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never going to keep me down. Where are my Chumbawamba fans at? I mean, come on. Maybe the greatest one-hit wonder of the 90s. I love it. When a righteous man gets knocked down, he still gets up. There's something so powerful about that small text. Righteous just means in right standing with God. And I don't want you to disqualify yourself from that because right standing with God is not something you earn. It's not something you have to strive for. It's not something you have to work hard to get. This is a free gift that is given to you whenever you put your hope and trust in Jesus. You get placed upon you this right standing label. And so this is talking about you. If you've decided to put your trust in Jesus, this is about you. That when you get knocked down, you can still get up. It might happen 1, 2, 3, 7 times, but you're gonna be able to get back up again and keep moving forward. And let me tell you, keep smiling while you do it. That number 7 is the number of completion in the Bible. It means it doesn't matter how hard you get knocked down, you're still gonna be able to get up again. I actually believe this little passage is also a foreshadowing to what Jesus did, which when we ultimately get knocked down and we die, guess what? We still are actually gonna get back up again because Jesus raised from the dead and that same power lives in us. And so even when we die, we can still get back up again. There is something to be said about adversity. Now, when I say you need to smile more, I'm not talking about happiness. And happiness is fleeting. Happiness is an emotional response. To be happy is something that comes and goes. Actually, the word happiness and the word happen have the same Old English root word of hap, H-A-P. Meaning that little word hap stands for luck or fortune or chance. That's where happiness comes. Happiness is by luck. It's by chance that something might pass by you and make you happy in any given moment. So when I stand up here and say you need to smile more, I'm not saying just be happy even when you don't feel like you're happy. That's not what I'm saying. I actually think there's something deeper than that. God gives us something deeper than happiness. Do you know what that is? Joy. Happiness is decided by what happens to you, but joy is determined by whose spirit is in you. Those are 2 totally different concepts. Anyone like the Avengers Marvel movies? Who likes those superhero movies? Anyone? Anything with like really big CGI and action and fights and something to make me turn up my surround sound so much that my wife gets mad at me, like those are my kind of movies, okay? I love them. Have you ever thought about what kind of superpower you'd want? Who would fly? Raise your hand. I'm gonna shout out. Who would fly? Anybody? No flyer. Okay, few. All right. Super strength. Anyone? Super strength? Okay, I see you. Invisibility. How about that? Invisibility. Okay, here's what I'd pick. I'd pick super speed, okay? I just want to be able to do anything super fast, right? I want to paint my house. Boom, it's done, all right? That's what I pick, super speed. Did you know that God has actually given us spiritual superpowers? Now, more traditional people call these the fruit of the Spirit. Okay, I call them spiritual superpowers. I don't have time to go through all of them today, but one of them is joy. And a spiritual superpower is just like the superpowers in the movies. This is a superpower that you have access to that other people might not necessarily have access to. And you will have access to it in a season or in a moment or in a circumstance that does not make sense. And you have the ability to activate it in the midst of really difficult situations. But listen, I'm going to continue to be a little nerdy with you. I don't know if you're familiar with the X-Men. The X-Men have some superpowers, but they're not like Superman, who's just like born and just like goes and flies and faster than a speeding bullet. X-Men actually go to school to actually learn how to harness their superpowers in order to use them more effectively. I actually believe when we are given spiritual superpowers, all right, I believe when we're given these, we are then placed in situations that allow us to outwork or practice with these spiritual superpowers so that we can learn how to use them so that every step in life you will be equipped to face that situation. But even if it knocks you down, you still get up and you keep moving forward and you keep smiling and you keep outworking it and you keep growing that superpower inside of you. The joy, the superpower of joy, James talks about in James 1. He says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials. He's saying when you face a problem in this life, you will actually have the capacity that your joy will fill up in the midst of this trial. He goes on, he says, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. So he's saying the reason that joy wells up inside of you is because while you're facing something externally, God is doing something internally. While you're facing this challenge outside of you, God is doing something new in you. He's producing something. In this circumstance, he's producing patience, another spiritual superpower, by the way. Just Google that. That's your homework. Don't Google spiritual superpowers. That's what I call them, okay? Google fruit of the Spirit, and you'll learn something. Okay, but he's producing something in you as you face this challenge head on. And it doesn't stop there. This thing that he's doing in you, this patience, it goes on. It says, but let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing. So while you face trials and obstacles in this life, the things that are trying to knock you out, while you're trying to figure out how to face them, maybe even getting knocked down, but then still getting back up because you got right standing with God and God's on your side and you can keep getting up and keep smiling and keep moving forward, all during that, God's doing something in you. He's welling up joy inside of you. He's welling up patience inside of you. He's literally, the Bible just promised you, he's perfecting you. He's bringing you to a point where you will lack nothing and you just keep moving forward. James goes on in verse 12. He says, anyone who meets a testing challenge head on and manages to stick it out is mighty fortunate. For such persons loyally in love with God, the reward is life and more life. I love that. The same exact verse, just in a more traditional passage. Do you have that? It says, blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. So let me break this down. The promise to you is that the crown of life can be made available to you, that you can access blessing in this life, that you can access a state of approval in this life, that you can access more life, and more life just by facing the challenges head on. And so James starts dialoguing about what this looks like when you are faced up with a situation externally and what God is doing internally. Man, I believe it just challenges you to learn how to access these spiritual superpowers in a greater way and allows you to face these challenges head on. And again, you get knocked down, you get back up again, and you keep going. See, you need to smile more. Because no matter what you're facing right now, you got a God on your side who's doing something in you and preparing you for the next thing that's about to happen. I don't want to discourage you, but there's always going to be a trial up ahead because James said there'd be various trials, which means they're going to be a lot. They're going to be kind of abundant. They're going to attack you from different ways, and you got to be ready. He takes you to another place. He takes you to new ground. He takes you to another level. But even in that place, you got to be ready. Oh, man. Oh, what was the phrase? Hold on. It's going to come. Okay, hold on. Anyone grow up in old school Pentecostal church? There was a phrase that just came to me. Hold on. I don't know, my man Kels, where are you at? Did you ever hear this phrase, Kels? Another level, another devil. Did you ever hear that phrase? Another level, another devil. All that means, that's old school church. I came at you old school today. All that means is when you get to the new level that God's taken you, there's going to be a challenge there too, but you've been equipped and prepared to face that challenge too. That's good. That's a whole other message. Another level, another devil. Maybe that's your subtitle today. That's your subtitle. Can I give you another verse? Philippians 4. This is Paul. He's saying almost an identical thing, okay, to what James is saying. Identical thing. He says, rejoice. Rejoice is just showing joy, expressing joy, right? Rejoice in the Lord. What's it say? Always. Not sometimes, not when it feels good, not when you want to show it, not when things are in your favor. He says, rejoice in the Lord. Always, I say it again, rejoice. Let your gentleness, hey, come on, another spiritual superpower that's in your homework, gentleness. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. You can hold it right there. Just so we're gathering what Paul is saying here, very similar to James. He's saying, rejoice always, okay? And the reason we rejoice is because the Lord is near. And he's repeating this pattern that something is happening inside of you. Gentleness is inside of you, okay? He goes on, he says, don't be anxious about anything. He gives us a blueprint for how to handle the external circumstances. Don't be anxious about anything, but in every situation, we pray. In every situation, we petition. So we go to God and we have knowledge about the situation when we're talking to him about it. We're thankful for the things that are happening well in our life right now. And it says we talk to God. We present our requests to him. And then it says the peace of God, spiritual superpower, peace of God will begin to protect the things that are going on inside of you so that even if you get knocked down, even if, you get figuratively punched in the face, what's going on inside is actually going to get stronger. What's going on inside is actually going to be protected. What's going on inside is actually going to have God just stirring joy and patience and the peace inside of you so that when you get back up, you are now more equipped to face that circumstance. And when you get to the next level, more equipped to face it there too. This peace of God, it transcends all understanding. Guard your hearts and minds in Christ Jesus. I think there's something powerful when we understand this concept of joy. I think there's something powerful when we understand that there's power in a smile. Rejoice always. Do you know what the word always means in the original language, the original Greek? Always. Yeah, always. That was the answer. You guys are Bible scholars today. It means always, meaning when you get the job that you've been hoping you were going to get for such a long time, what do you do in that situation? When you get accepted into the school that was your number one school, they were number one on your list, and you've been praying you were going to get in, you finally get in, what do you do? Man, when you hold the child in your arms that you and your husband have been praying for years, what do you do? Ladies, whenever the guy finally gets a real job and gets a salary and moves out of his parents' house and takes you on real dates and buys a ring, but not before consulting your friends about the type of ring you would like, and then he actually puts a ring on it, ladies, what do? Rejoice. But hold on, rejoice always. When you lose that job, what do? I'm still working on that. To rejoice always, I'm still personally working on that. And that's what I mean. We got to practice outworking these spiritual superpowers, that in all situations we rejoice. And remember, we're not rejoicing because of the external circumstances anyways. Whether they're good or bad, we're rejoicing because of what God's doing in here and the fact that he is near. That is the reason we rejoice. Man, you guys can start to make your way up. Can I tell you that there are going to be people here in this room right now that are going to accept the grace of Jesus? In just a few minutes, I'm going to give an opportunity to do that. But whenever that situation happens, I believe in that moment, there are going to be spiritual superpowers downloaded into your soul today. And you will have to practice and learn how to go about life using them. And I hope that if you stay in this community called Amplify, you're going to interact with some people that are going through some difficult times who have been practicing using them for longer than you have, and you'll see them show up as they navigate difficult situations. I've been blessed to see that in some of you. But for a lot of us here, if you have already made a decision that you are following Jesus, these spiritual superpowers have already been given to you. and they have already been downloaded in your soul. And many of you know every single thing I said on the platform already today, which brings it back full circle to me to the title for you. Can I just encourage you, you need to smile more. If you already know it, you need to smile more, okay? If you already know the joy has given you, if you tell me right now you already know it, can I give you a hint? Tell your face. Because some of us go through life always being the negative one, always being the person with the scowl, always the one willing to comment the negative comment, always the one that wanting to share the negative news on Facebook. And if I am your unsafe friend, I don't want to know your Jesus. You need to smile more because it does something to your soul. Remember, God wired us some way that the physical act just does something to my soul and I can't stay angry. What if the physical act of smiling just reminded us of the joy that's being welled up in us? What if the physical act of smiling to one another was a reminder that you have spiritual superpowers? Isaiah, I love this. It says, the expression of their faces bears witness against them. Don't be negative. Put a smile on. You need to smile more. If I could encourage you to develop the habit of smiling, I think that could be the best thing I could encourage you to do. Especially for those of you that know what I said, your challenge is to develop the habit of smiling. A habit, very, very simple. Even when you don't know what to do, you still know what to do. You need to smile more. And you know why we smile? Because the Lord is near. You know why we smile? Because God is on our side. You know why we smile? Though the righteous man may fall 7 times, he still gets up. We smile because we got a God who 2,000 years ago healed a blind man, and he is still making people see today. We smile because we got a God who 2,000 years ago, fed 5,000 people, and he's still doing miracles today. We smile because we got a God who made a lame man walk, and he's still healing people today. We got a God who raised Jesus from the dead, and that same spirit, that same power lives in you. So we give God a shout of praise today. We got reason to smile today. Come on, somebody. We're going to sing a little bit, get a little loud in this place. Come on, church. In the